Hey, it's Fox from InfernoFox Gaming. So last time on Dragon Ball Z, last time for the SNES collection, we had accrued a number of great hits up to and including the likes of Super Mario RPG and some cult classics like the Lemmings. And wouldn't you believe it, we're already up to 14 of the 35 total SNES games that I am looking to get for what I believe is the greatest system ever. And of course, saying that because I am old and I am over 40. But if you like or love the Super Nintendo, make sure you let us know in the comment section below your favorite games, as well as make sure to like this video, hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, you know, all that bojazz. But I'm going to show you guys for this SNES collector video, not an SNES game. What is this? Briefly, I'll show you Castlevania Bloodlines for the Sega Genesis. I promise, guys, this is the only time I'm going to be doing this, but I had to show because I ended up getting a really good deal on this. At least I felt. It was $113. I apologize. I believe I spoke to Mad Belmont before one of our InfernoCasts that he joined us on. I thought that I had paid $75 for it, but it was actually $113. But it is the game and the case, and game and the case together per price charting is $162.50. So not bad. Really excited to have a physical copy of this because this is a real classic, a Castlevania game that I slept very hard on. I think I tried like 15-20 years ago through Shmemulation. Didn't resonate with me back then, but I played it for my Nintendo Fanboy Plays Sega Genesis Classics series. Absolutely love this. This is probably the greatest Sega Genesis game that I have ever played, not counting the likes of like Sonic 2 or Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Fantastic. I'm so glad that I have this. Maybe I'll start a Sega Genesis collector series. Probably would only have 10 games. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of the Super Nintendo games. And that is going to be with Final Fantasy II. I am hitting really tough and strong right off the bat with the Super Nintendo games. I paid $44.99 for the game cartridge. And the price charting shows it at $51. And this was one of those games that I literally grew up with and got into. It was kind of like my first real RPG. Now, we did grow up and play Final Fantasy 1 on the NES, but that only had one save file, and two older brothers equals, hey, Fox doesn't get to play this game. But we did end up getting to watch both my older brothers play Final Fantasy 1. This, fortunately, 4 accounts. So that meant that each of us, the three of us, could have our own accounts. So that's ultimately what we did. And this was one of the last Final Fantasy games that my oldest brother ended up finishing to completion, though my older brother would continue on with some additional RPGs. And this one really has a special place in my heart. Love the storyline to this. Absolutely excellent music. Very mid translation. The gameplay, the first in the series with the ATB battle system. This was just so much fun, and definitely have a soft spot for it. Really glad to have a physical copy of such a classic. Now, the next up, we're going to not continue the hits with Mario Paint. And I'm saying not continue the hits because while I paid $3.99 for this, price charting only has it for $6.55 because this was just the game. As you can see here, I did not purchase the mouse with it because I'm just honestly looking for the collections. I'm just looking to collect the games, what I think are the 35 best Super Nintendo games to me. And I wasn't really like super duper artsy fartsy, but what we could do with Mario Paint, not only creating paintings using pre-existing stamps, you could also create very simplistic animations and some really cool music tracks. Now, the music tracks were only, what, like 30, 45 seconds long. Regardless, it just the idea of what could be created with this. I remember 6th grade junior high music class. For some reason, I really picked up music like really easily, and I could start playing music and stuff by ear, like piano by ear. So any tune that I wanted, I was able to read the music and turn into this. And it was a lot of fun. And it sucks because I never really put in additional effort with that musical sense that I had. And I lost the ability to play stuff by ear. Maybe I could do that if I really trained with the piano. I had played guitar for a number of years. Would never re-pick that up when I relearned the guitar, I think back in like 2016. Regardless, Mario Paint, ton of fun. And this was a lot of kids, especially my age, first introduction to the art world. And this had a lot of great positive effects on kids and everything, like myself. The YouTube channel Gaming Historian did a fantastic retrospective of this game. I'm going to put a link to that in the description below. I definitely recommend you check that out for some really good listening, but really glad to physically have this. The next entry, though, is a favorite version of mine, Street Fighter II, The World Warrior. I would argue that this is not the best version. I think Street Fighter II Turbo is. Some people would say Super Street Fighter II with the 4 extra fighters. I paid $14.99 for this. Price starting was $15.50. I have a soft spot for this because it's the classic 8 characters plus the 4 boss characters. My older brother and I played this together up until he got wooed away by the Mortal Kombat series. But I really like the cartoony aesthetics. I know my older brother didn't like it. He wanted the more realistic, I guess, would you call Mortal Kombat realistic? Well, I mean, they captured like actual individuals wearing costumes. So yeah, you could say it was realistic. This was not. This was cartoony, but Capcom did a heck of a job with this fighter, and it's an absolute favorite. Also loved that when my dad would watch this, he would funnily mispronounce a lot of the names, like the Hadouken. He would just go a bullshit, little stuff like that. A lot of fun, a lot of good memories, fantastic game, and I suck at this. I will freely admit that this is one of my favorite series that I stink at. So there we go. The next game is a classic, and it's the sequel to F-Zero, Super Mario Kart. And what do you mean? What do I mean sequel to F-Zero? Shigeru Miyamoto, after creating F-Zero, wanted to do a sequel to it and allow 2 players to race at the same time, hence the split screen, even during the 1-player action of Super Mario Kart. And he wasn't really feeling the whole F-Zero thing. I guess a whole, I don't know, racers, aesthetics, decided to turn it into a kart-based or a Mario mascot-led based racer, and hence Super Mario Kart was born. Now, I had paid $34.99. Price starting has it at $34.87. This is one of 2 of the pickups where I actually lost a little. I didn't save anything, but all of these pickups, save one, were from one seller on eBay, and they were able to consolidate the shipping on, again, all but one of these. And of course, the Castlevania, that was yet another separate thing. But consolidating the shipping charges for these was super helpful. Saved me like $25. So yay for savings that way. But really super happy to have this. Really underrated racer, especially now. Yeah, you got a lot of the mechanics for like Mario Kart 8. I mean, this is basic to a B. I mean, let's be honest there, compared to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But what's here is really fantastic. It also kind of gives me that soft spot for Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance. And just the whole sense of speed, the unfairness of the computer players. I mean, it's rubber banding with a vengeance. I have yet to run into a harder cup than 150cc Special Cup. I've only gotten gold once. Silver twice, only once. Because there is so much luck and the computers are jerks. Beyond all that, this is a ton of fun to play with two individuals from time to time. I even like playing this with my partner, Jamie Owls. And if you have fond memories of Super Mario Kart, such as being in my early 20s and playing with the Micro Center crew, especially my buddy Jay, who happily beat me on this when we were playing at our buddy Chris's house. Still a ton of fun, and just the level of joy seeing on his face as he beat me on this game. It's a lot of fun, and definitely recommend it. And speaking of recommending it, all of the entries that I mentioned so far are on the NSO. Save Street Fighter 2, that's available on the Sega Genesis NSO expansion pack. I think that's the turbo version. And of course, Street Fighter 2 is available on the Anniversary Collection. That is a separate purchasable game on the Nintendo eShop, as well as, most likely the Sony PlayStation Store and most likely Steam. But the next game is not available on the NSO. It is on the NES, but not the superior SNES version, and that is Wario's Woods. And I paid $14.99 for it. Price starting has it for $12.50. So I lost a little money on this one, but that's a shame because this is such a fun game. When I received the package as of the recording of this video containing a number of these games, I tested each of them out for about like 5-10 minutes. I played this for about an hour. This is so much fun going through, and it's like not so much a puzzle platformer. It's more puzzle than anything, with a couple of platform elements, because you control Toad and you have to use bombs to destroy monsters. And it's either 2 bombs and 1 monster, or 1 bomb or 2 or more monsters. And you just have to clear a whole room full, or a whole like matrix full of the monsters to win, depending on what type of game. Because there's a versus against computers, versus against 2 players, a timed match, and like a round game. Like it's kind of like the main game, I guess. It is definitely so much fun. I really enjoy the puzzle games, and this I believe this actually completes my puzzle game collection, because on the first video that I featured, I had picked up Tetris and Dr. Mario. The second one was Tetris Attack. So this completes the amount of puzzle games that I'm going to have in my collection. I definitely have a soft spot for puzzle games, and if you do too, let me know in the comments section below. And if you've played Wario's Woods, because I would definitely like to be able to play this with somebody online. Well, maybe if Nintendo would put the Super Nintendo version on the NSO. So this last one, and if I'm anchoring a video with this, it's going to be good. This one is probably the most expensive Super Nintendo game thus far that I've picked up, not counting when I picked up the likes of Chrono Trigger or Soul Blazer, I think like a year plus ago, from the Hardicus collection, and just from, my general sojourns and journeys through conventions and whatnot. But this one, as the start of this series, is the most expensive Super Nintendo pick. It is not a JRPG, but it is Super Metroid. This is not only one of the greatest Super Nintendo games of all time, really good arguments that it is, and I would never counter argue that, although, well, maybe the only other game I'd say that bests this is Chrono Trigger. But this not only is one of the best Super Nintendo games, I still think it's the best in the series of Metroid. It is the best Metroidvania game still to this day. This defined Metroidvania. The Vania coming 3 years later with Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This I did pick up for $80, and as you can see, not only the cartridge, but it has the manual as well. So I paid $80 for the game and the manual. Price charting has the game at $73.06, but the manual as well for $31.56. So combined, ended up with a pretty good amount of savings with that. And again, I do think this is a better game than Dread. The only thing that puts this above Dread, the music. The music is absolutely phenomenal in Super Metroid. So many excellent tracks and tunes, whereas Dread's was a little bit more ambient, and I'll be honest, pretty forgetful. Didn't really pull in a lot of themes. I mean, come on, you have Kraid returning in Metroid Dread. You're not going to pull the Brinstar Depths theme from the classic Metroid to, sort of have that pull from the previous thing. And they didn't even explain why they pulled Kraid into Metroid Dread. No Ridley, but they have Kraid. No explanation. Okay, whatever. Dread, excellent game. I still think it's like a 9.5 or out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10. absolutely fantastic. And a lot of hidden stuff within it too. If you fully charge a beam weapon and only have the charge beam and that beam weapon, such as like only the ice and the charge, it'll like give you a barrier if you are charging with the power bomb equipped. Or you have the crystal recharge ability, where if you're running low on health, but you've got enough missiles, super missiles, and power bombs, you can charge up, and I think it's like you set off a power bomb or something like that. It's been a while since I've done it, but you do that, and it'll deplete your weapons, but you'll recharge your energy tanks again. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Plus, this literally helped to supercharge the speedrun community because of game-breaking stuff, or the wall kick ability. I remember having to learn that, really School of Hard Knocks, when exploring the green Brinstar area and getting stuck where those little creatures are at, and they're bouncing off the walls. And I'm like, how do you do that? I remember being stuck there for an hour. But I learned the hard way, and I've used that to help sequence break like a million times. Oh my gosh, cannot speak highly enough about Super Metroid, one of the greatest games. And let me know in the comment section below if you believe it's one of the greatest games. But that is my series of pickups for this collection video. And we're not going to have another collection video until after the weekend of the April 4th through 6th, because that is when InfernoFox Gaming is going to the Midwest Gaming Expo in Milwaukee. So if you're going to be going, let me know in the comment section below. Love to meet up with you. Otherwise, we will see you there, because it'll be myself, Jason the 13th, and a couple others. And gonna be focusing on some SNES pickups. That'll be a lot of fun to do. But otherwise, thank you guys again for joining and watching. We hope you have a great day.